Hello, BookTube. Well, I was right. A huge mail haul came, and one way you can surely tell that it's a Saturday is that I don't have my usual U.S. mail truck driver, uh, Tom from Tipperary, who he and I talk every day. He knows exactly what to do. I'm not new to him. I'm not a new stop on the route. So he knows to ring the bell and then just wait, because I'm going to come out and we're going to chat, like two Donegal housewives. And he also knows that if I get a lot of books, they're going to come in one of these plastic U.S. mail tubs, and he knows not to leave it. He knows that I have a small collection of these things and don't want any more. So even if I don't answer the bell, if by some weird chance I happen to be out when he's here, he doesn't leave the tub. He just leaves the books. Uh, you know that this is a new person because they did leave the tub, so it's going to go in the pile. But it means a lot of books. So let's just go through these and see if there are any Steve books. I'm in the mood for a Steve book. And my parameters with Steve books are so broad that, it shouldn't be hard to get me one. Oh, look at that. The first one's a biography, a really good biography. This is due in early November. I'm very happy to have the finished copy. This is The Dawn Watch, a new life, really a literary life, of Joseph Conrad, who's an author I've had a vexed relationship with forever. I've found he's revered by so many people. And also he does the thing that I love when novelists do, which is his books unarguably hit the common touch. They reach the common taste, which I love when an author does that. When his books are taken up in addition to dutifully read. And yet, I've never found them anything but a slodge. And I think some of you may remember, I should hold the book up, shouldn't I? Some of you may remember when I got the advance copy of this, I was actually hoping that when I read it, I would have renewed interest in going back to Conrad, and I do. I haven't done it yet because I want to do a thorough reread, so I'm going to leave it for the new year. But this did that, and I feel certain that it will do it with you. This author, Maya Jasnoff, she's fantastic. Anyway, and she knows that she has an uphill battle in a literary life of what we'd have to call now a second-tier literary figure, who led a not particularly dramatic life, and whose books are hard to summarize and hard to... She knew she had a big task on her hands, and she hits it out of the park. This is a fantastic book. So if you like literary biographies, you're going to love it, even if you're not a fan of Conrad. And I know that for a fact because I wasn't, and I loved it. So we're off to a fine start here. Let's move on. What is this next one? Oh, fantastic. Oh, great. This is next year. This is Feel Free by Zadie Smith. A collection of essays of hers spanning a decade that I have waited eagerly for. And I read a bit of it. I'm wondering if I can find it quickly so that I can read it to you, because it's wonderful. It sums up how wonderful she is yeah, I think this is it. Okay, writing exists for me at the intersection of three precarious and uncertain elements: language, the world, and the self. The first is never wholly mine. The second I can only ever know in a partial sense. The third is malleable and improvised response to the previous two. If my writing is a psychodrama, I don't think it is because I have, as the internet would have it, so many feels, but because the correct balance and weight to be given to each of these three elements is never self-evident to me. It's this self, whose boundaries are uncertain, whose language is never pure, whose world is in no way self-evident, that I try to write from and to. My hope is for a reader who, like the author, often wonders how she really is, and who takes it for granted that reading involves all the same liberties and exigencies as writing. That's wonderful. That's kind of the manifesto of an ideal critic, which is, I think she's an ideal critic. At one point in this book, this reprints all of her Harper's columns, all of when she was briefly doing the new books reviews for Harper's. And at one point, she says that she took on the job when it was offered to her in a kind of new mother bravado, where the world's my oyster, I can do anything, and she lasted 6 months. It apparently makes it sound like a grist mill, but I thought she did a spectacular job, and it's a wonderful thing to have all those columns in one book, because I have them all clipped. I thought it was a spectacular performance. But anyway, let's move on here. What's this next? Oh, fantastic! Oh, we're doing fine. This is Munich by Robert Harris. the author of Fatherland and Pompeii. This is his new novel about Neville Chamberlain negotiating with Adolf Hitler. Fantastic. Okay, it's even though it's a novel, I'm really hoping to review it in the new year for the Monitor, but we shall see. All right, this next one's a finished copy. Oh, great. Oh, fantastic. This is C. Robert Cargill's Sea of Rust. It's a science fiction novel in which every last living human being has been exterminated by robots that were originally created as the service industry, and a lot of them have now been connected by gigantic and super smart and super fast and not particularly ethical AIs. And there are a few robots out in the world who don't want to be part of AIs, and they are our heroes. But it's a world without humans. It's a science fiction world without any humans at all. I originally thought, robot world is going to get tired quick, but boy, can this author write. Oh, man. It does not get tired at all. It was wonderful. I'm glad to have a finished copy. We'll move on to this next one here. Oh, we have 2 books. This is 2 books. What is the first one? Oh, great. Okay, I requested these. This is from Henry Holt. This comes out in the new year, I think. Yes, this comes out in March. And it is, it's The Parking Lot Attendant. And the author's name, oh my God. We're a long way from Southie. Nafkote Tamarat? But it sounded interesting to me. When she was growing up as an Ethiopian American in Boston, she was constantly amazed by how no matter what parking lot she stopped in at the city, there were always about 5 different attendants who greeted her in her mother tongue, Amharic. Slowly realizing the hustle they were involved in, Nafkote found inspiration for her beautiful debut novel, The Parking Lot Attendant. The novel concerns an Ethiopian American girl, the unnamed narrator of the novel, who lives with her somewhat aloof father in the city of Boston, Massachusetts. So it's obviously very autobiographical. After her mother abandons her without warning when the narrator is only 6. Soon after her 15th birthday, she stumbles upon a nearby parking lot where she meets Ayale, a charismatic parking lot attendant, and through him becomes exposed to the quite sizable Ethiopian community living in Boston, which she'd been unaware of. And that sounds like that's going to be a couple of different kinds of new worlds to read about. You're all right. You're okay. There you go. There you go. Just sit up. Oh. There you go. Sorry, BookTube. Here, just sit up. There you go. Okay. And I like that. I believe it or not, I like reading about new worlds like that. So that's great to have. And the next one, I remember I requested this as well. This is by Agnes Poirier. This is Left Bank. The subtitle is Art, Passion, and the Rebirth of Paris, 1940 to 1950. And it's in this exploration of Paris during one of its most trying, significant, and ultimately triumphant eras. The author unspools the stories of the poets, writers, painters, and philosophers whose lives collided to extraordinary effect in this decade. And that is a perfect subject for a book. So I'm overjoyed that it's going to get a full treatment. Haven't touched it, haven't read into it, so I don't know. It might not be good, but we shall see. And then we've got this next one here, a finished copy. Oh, great. This is a finished copy of The Water Will Come. A book that I've already praised on this channel. I'm very happy to have a finished copy. That's wonderful. Right, I'm sure you've noticed we haven't had a dud yet. There's no way it's going to last, but I thought I'd point that out just to jinx things. So, okay, I don't recognize the sender here. Let's see what we have. I'm keeping one eye on the puppy as well because she's awake now and she's making trouble. So this is Skating to the Vertical. And it is a collection of short stories by Jan English Leary. It's from Fulmite Press. It comes out on the 1st of November. And her stories have appeared all over the place. She's won an Illinois Arts Council Award, and she's taught fiction at Northwestern University. And her first novel, Thicker Than Blood, was released in 2015. I don't remember it now. Of course, I'm checking to see if I reviewed it. If there's a blurb, that's going to be bad. But there's none from me. Okay, so this is going to be a paperback in November, and it's a collection of short stories. The author's writing deftly offers insight into the disappointments and beauty of human love. In her new collection of 16 stories, Leary writes about individuals who face the challenges of infertility and parenting, estrangement and intimacy, illness and recovery, loss and redemption. Okay, all right, a collection of short stories. Didn't request it, but I'm always up for a collection of short stories, so let's see what this next one is. Feels kind of light. What is this? Oh, great! Oh, fantastic! Wow! Oh, my! Okay, I did not get an advance copy of this, I don't think, but I don't recall it anyway, but I'm very happy to have the finished copy. All right, this comes out later this month. It's not going to take me more than half an hour to read. It's Linda Greenhouse, Just a Journalist. And the subtitle is On the Press, Life, and the Spaces Between. And she is the Joseph Goldstein Lecturer of Law at Yale University and a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist who is a contributor and op-ed writer for New York Times. And she wrote a book that some of you may recognize, Becoming Justice Blackmun, which was fantastic. And this is sort of a journalism memoir, and also, I think, a little bit of a writing guide. The descriptions that I've had of it, I like, so I can't wait to dig into it. But we're moving on here. We're checking the time. We're doing time for time. Okay. What is this next one? Ah, okay. I don't know if we saw this on this channel before. I have seen it. This comes out in November. I have seen it, but I don't know if I showed it. It's Unpacking My Library. Artists and their books. Of course, I opened at random to a library with a dog on the chair. I imagine that's not the only one here. And it's just a collection of personal libraries. Look at that. This is the sort of thing you just love to look at. I soak up time looking at books like this, just for pure voyeuristic fun. Just to see who has what, who they've kept, what. Also, you can tell when you look at people's bookshelves, you can tell what they've read more than what they haven't read. It's always fascinating. Wonderful. All right, let's move on here. I can almost see the bottom of this thing, so we're doing okay. I just realized this, of course, will be the last mail haul of the week. So I'm glad it's a nice, healthy one. Let's see here. This next one is from Counterpoint. Oh, great. Okay, I requested this as well. This is a novel by Rebecca Kaufman. Comes out in March, and it's called The Gunners. And she is originally from rural northeastern Ohio. She received her BA in classical violin performance from the Manhattan School of Music, and several years later received her MFA in creative writing from New York University. And she currently lives in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. And this is, let's see here, following on her wonderfully received first novel, Another Place You've Never Been, Rebecca Kaufman returns to Mikey Callahan, the 30-year-old who is suffering from clouded vision of macular degeneration. He struggles to establish human connections. Even his emotional life is a blur. As the novel begins, he is reconnecting with the Gunners, his group of childhood friends, after one of their members has committed suicide. Just struck me as something really, really interesting. Even though I'm not, as you know, contemporary fiction is not my bag, but I'm all for. I try all of it, so we'll see. All right, what's this next one here? Okay, we saw this before. It did not fare well with my initial reaction, and then I read it, and it's even worse than I thought. But so I won't dwell on it. But this is we saw this on this channel before. This is the BuzzFeed copy chief, Emmy Favola, wrote a book, A World Without Whom, which is, as far as I can tell, a grammar and usage guide for idiots. So I don't really see what the point is. Because who wants to knowingly read anything by an idiot? And if you are knowingly reading something by an idiot, why would you care if they're getting their semicolons right? So I got the finished copy now, so I don't think I will reread it. But we'll move on. We'll move on from there. We'll see what's next. Oh, very nice. Oh my. All right, I'm not going to show you this one. I have a good reason, but I'm not going to show you that one. I'm just going to move on. A copy of this one is already in the mail to one of you, and I don't want to spoil it. So we'll move on. Oh, great. Okay. All right. So we're finishing up with a very small volume, but it's history. And it's a finished copy of something that I have already read, and I unexpectedly liked it a lot. So I'm glad to have a finished copy. This is out already, and it is 1517, Martin Luther and the Invention of the Reformation by Peter Marshall. It's a skinny little thing from Oxford University Press. About the same old, it's the two things that in 2017 have been just overwhelmingly written about is Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation, because this is the anniversary of the nailing of the theses to the door, and the Russian revolutions. Which also another this time a 100-year anniversary. So we've got swamps of those titles, of those subjects, and for once I've been glad of it, because the books have been almost uniformly wonderful. So who's going to complain? And this is a perfect example of that. If you're looking for a relatively short but still intellectually really good introduction that's in your bookstore now or in your library now, this is a wonderful place, a wonderful one to start with. The season has had many extremely scholarly approaches to the birth of the Reformation, but it's also had some that are intended for the really smart general reader who doesn't know every last thing there is to know. But there you go. So that is, oh my God, can we even do this? That is our mail haul. An enormous stack of books that will have to tide me over until Monday. So I'll wrap it up here, and I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.